The first bird of spring attempted to sing, but ere he had uttered a note, he fell from the limb. A dead bird was him. The music had frizz in his throat. I don't know what kind of a spring you've had. Mine has mainly consisted in trampling around in the freezing mud at Montrose, dressed in my winter woolies. But now look at today. Stephen's Green, pretty girls, fresh air, sunlight. This is the kind of day to think about holidays. And today, Shell have published probably the most comprehensive guide to Ireland that has yet been published. The perpetrators of this guide are Professor Michael Duignan and the ubiquitous Lord Killanin. And here they are to talk about it. One of the things that puzzles me, particularly, Lord Killanin, about this, is that between your various activities, filming, theatre festivaling, Olympic Games, where on earth did you get the time to do this?
Well, it took a long time, because it started about 12 years ago, and there are 24 hours in the day, and if one gets up early, one can fit in quite a lot. But I could have never done it without the assistance of my colleague, Professor Michael Duignan.
Well, where did you get the time?
By staying up late at night.
In other words, there's a lot of midnight oil represented in this enormous tome.
There is a fair amount.
It is enormously comprehensive. Could you show me about Stephen's Green, for instance?
Yes, well, we have the guide is based on particular places. So as you are travelling through the country, you can find it, and around each place, everything's set in a clockwise method.
In other words, it's based on a different system than
yes, a completely
the
new system.
Guidebook.
Dublin is divided into 4 sections, with the main axis going north and south. And Stephen's Green is on the north-south axis, which has a fairly comprehensive entry here, which I passed to Professor Duignan.
Yes, it would be two pages on Stephen's Green alone.
Well, pretty well 2 pages, yes.
Tell us something about the Green.
There's far too much here. The simplest thing really would be to read a bit.
Yes, do.
I think. If we take the south side, we take the house number 82, which had been, according to this at any rate, it had been the residence of Francis Higgins, the famous sham squire, editor of the Freeman's Journal, a British spy and underworld boss. It now houses the internationally celebrated Irish Folklore Commission. Number 84 was rebuilt in 1878 as the aula maxima of the then University College. Number 85, Clonwilliam House.
Tell me that there are a lot of personal opinions expressed by both of you in this on literary matters. I've noticed some of them myself. Would you say that this is perhaps what we might call an opinionated guidebook?
It's based first of all on facts. I started off doing the first draft of this, and it's purely on facts.
Why did you start?
Because I like travelling, and I like Ireland, and I like history, and I like literature, and I realised that there was nothing as comprehensive as our guide has turned out to be available. And so we started work on it to try and make a fairly complete guide. Unfortunately, this is still not possible until such a time as the archaeological surveys are completed. I might say, of course, it covers the 32 counties of Ireland, and I think it's possibly natural that Professor Duignan, who is a Dubliner, and myself as a Galway man, possibly we may find that the east and the west are perhaps more strongly represented than the north and the south. But it does cover the whole of Ireland.
Did you enjoy doing this?
I enjoyed it very much.
Did you?
At times, very much.
What do you mean at times?
Well, there was a lot of drudgery attached to it, of course, inevitably. And the proof correcting was quite exhausting.
I imagine you've many errors to make up for in future editions, too.
Well, there are bound to be corrections, and all the time with bulldozers and houses coming down and new buildings going up. And then naturally architectural things get discovered, and there are changes of opinions and views. We ourselves each have a specially bound copy, so that we can, as we go along, correct it for future editions for the future.
What precise uses do you think this can be put to, apart from the obvious tourist value?
Well, I think it's especially for the tourist who is interested in the historical, the architectural, the literary approach. We have a lot of literary references to where people lived, about places they wrote about. I might say, although the facts are, as we said earlier, the facts are all, to our minds, correct, we have expressed opinions on aesthetics, on architecture of all types, which may create certain amounts.
I must say, I found it a readable book, apart from its value as a tourist guide.
But that's some consolation at any rate. But I don't think it's a book to read, you know.
You think not?
I'm
going to try.
Certainly not.
I'm going to draft myself a free copy after this interview.
Well, I'm sure we can arrange for that, and for you to have a copy for reference sake, if ever
We
want to
need
look
one
up
for
suitable
broadsheet.
for.
Actually, there's a story of a broadsheet on every page, and more than that I cannot say. Lord Killanin, Professor Duignan, thanks very much indeed. Well, now let's have a look around before we close this. We've collected quite a gathering of spring lovers.
Spring lovers?
Now, bye-bye for the present from Spring in Stephen's Green.